Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we have finished reading the novella Dawnshard by Brandon Sanderson. We've wrapped up. We know everything there is to know about Dawnshards now. No more questions whatsoever. And Lopin and Risen and everyone lived happily ever after, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know that you're telling the truth here, Data.
This sounds embellished.
I'm Data, and with me today is
Dak.
And Joe.
Yep, Jaymee had to miss out on the final one of this. It's sad, but hopefully we will have her back next week for our big review trivia episode. Actually, I say next week. I guess I will go ahead and put it out up front that we're going to take a break of a week after this episode before that next one. So may as well get that out right on top.
I said the next week, not the next week.
Yeah,
there you go.
And if you want somebody to blame, it's Data. He's got a thing.
I'm going to Disney World. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry. I mean, I wish we go. We all wish we could go to Orlando and have a great time.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure some people don't, but it's fine. Anyway, hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
And maybe I'm a monster, but I am what you made. Those memories that hurt me will fly apart and fade. And maybe I'm a monster, but I don't give a damn. For maybe I am perfect, just the way I am. I don't wanna feel.
So yeah, we did 3 chapters and an epilogue, and wrap things up as probably as well as we could have hoped. What did you guys think of the end of Dawnshard?
I liked it. I still have many questions about everything, which I'm sure is the intention. But it was I loved the fact that Risen resolved this by being a merchant and making a negotiation. I thought that is amazing. It's like 10 out of 10, no notes. I like the fact that Lopin is now a full-on shard bearer, and much like the second one, it was just kind of accidental, and he's just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then that happened again. I'm like, "Yes, I want to see Lopin accidentally himself into all the vows. Love it." But my favorite thing about it was the fact that Huio beat him to it. I'm just like, yeah, I want to see Huio get some wins. He's always been just so out of focus in the main books, and undoubtedly that's because he can't really speak Alethi, so Lopin does all his talking for him. And now that we actually get to see more of him, he's just like, yeah, I'm a fucking shard bearer, and I'm like the 3rd or 4th one in the Windrunners. And I'm like, you go, Huio.
Good for you, my man.
Yeah.
A lot of people got a win here at the end, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's Risen's whole thing. It's like, yeah, we are. Like, I am here to, be a good merchant, make sure everyone gets as much as they can within reason, and it all worked out. Like, it was cool, the bartering with Nickley, and at the end it's like, yeah, only 3 people died, and Risen's like, I could have saved them. I'm like, not really you see a merchant making that. Normally it's the warrior who has qualms like that. But so it was a nice little, yeah. It was a good way to wrap up. It was satisfying, even though there are still so many questions of what the fuck is this power?
Yeah, given that she's kind of central to the book, it's nice that she got to resolve the main conflict using her strength, like what she does. You're right that.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone was expecting that exactly, but after it happens, you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Wasn't Schindler a merchant? And he was like, I could have saved more.
He ran factories, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I guess so. He may not have been like an actual merchant. He just ran factories.
An industrialist, I think, is the word.
Yeah. That just when he said you don't see a merchant doing that, I was like, wait a minute, Schindler. Yeah. That's like what he did. He was like, I could have done more.
Literally his whole thing. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. I mainly remember like the Mr. Burns quote. It's like when he's talking to he wants the movie made to compare him to Schindler, and Senor Spielbergo is just like a. Senor Schindler es muy bueno, Senor Burns, el diablo. and he just goes, listen to me, Spielbergo. Schindler and I are like peas in a pod. We're both military industrialists, so we both made shells for the Nazis, but mine worked, damn it. It's like one of the greatest lines of The Simpsons.
Oh, boy.
Also, I've got a cold, so if I sound like dog shit, that's why.
It happens. That was like me last week, I think, so.
Yep.
Yeah, great ending to this little novella. Again, like doesn't answer all the questions, which it can be a little frustrating as a reader. You're like, man, I want to know, but it gives us some interesting little knowledge nuggets that could be savored and flavored and theorized upon. But yeah, so we've got Risen getting the Dawnshard, which still don't know what that is technically. It seems like it's some kind of primordial power or something. So that's got a lot of cool potential, but it sounds like it's only a fourth of said power, if I'm reading correctly what Nick Lee was talking about. And then yeah, the Huio stuff, the Lopet stuff, just classic comic relief / awesomeness. It was cool. Huio got a hammer, and then Lopin gets a dagger, which I was kind of like, huh, that's interesting. That his normal one's a dagger when he's been a spear guy. But who knows what he did before? Maybe his personality was more dagger before. It's also interesting to me that like the shard blades, which maybe they did this before the recreants or whatever it was called, before they like turned their backs on their oaths. Maybe their natural shard blade form was different types of weapons, but like we only know what's going on now. So it's interesting to me that it's like there's some people that just have blades. And then, but like all of our characters that we like seem to have different styles of weapons. Because like, isn't what's his face is Dustbringer? Doesn't she just have a blade? And then Shalon just has a blade, right? It's not like it's not a special blade. So like, it's interesting that some people have them and some people don't.
Well, no, Shalon's was, I think, the very first one we saw that changed, because when she and Kaladin were stuck in the chasm and they were trying to climb up, she like summoned her shard blade, but then made it shorter so that she could use it to carve notches into the wall that they could climb up.
Yeah, but the natural summon that she made of it was just a regular blade that then she made smaller, right?
That's fair, yeah.
Because like that's not what we saw with Kaladin. Kaladin's was a spear. Huio's was a hammer.
Kaladin shows up as a sword first, and then Sill's like, "Oh, you'd probably prefer a spear, wouldn't you?"
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that. So yeah, interesting. But anyway, yeah, fun stuff. Of course, there's always questions and more questions and more questions. And I'm interested to see, like, I'm interested to see how this novella like affects the main story overall. Are we going to be seeing a lot more of Risen? Are we going to see more of the Sleepless like kind of hanging out, or is it something that's not going to really be talked about in the main storyline? Because I could see Brandon doing it both ways, right? I could see him being like, "Oh, well, I put this novella out. Let me include this in the main story," and then I could see him being like, "Well, I don't want people who didn't read that to not get the full experience, so I'm not going to feature that as much." And so I'm kind of interested to see how that will actually affect the main books.
So your question made me think, and I had to go out. I found a question and answer that Brandon did in 2016, where this was like just after Words of Radiance, I guess, where he's like, the person says, "So it's been established that when Syl transformed for Kaladin, that a living blade can become like any weapon, right?" And Brandon says, "Yes, based on the perception of the wielder." And the guy goes, "Right. So why are there only dead swords?" And Brandon says, "That's a good question that will be answered in the future." And the guy goes, "Could they make a lightsaber?" And he's like, "Could they make a light? They could make metal weapons of a similar style to that. But no, not a lightsaber, because creating plasma is not something we're looking at."
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Like, what would the metal equivalent of that be? Just a thin blade, or could it somehow vibrate?
It's like, I have a shard blade. It just conjures up aluminium, because that's basically lightsabers in this universe.
Right, that's true too. Yeah, it's like, would it? Like, I'm trying to think of what a piece of metal could do that would act like a lightsaber, and the only thing I could think of is like vibrate really, really quickly.
I was just thinking, like, shard blades already cut through, well, almost anything, like, real easily, so they already feel very lightsabery to me.
Yeah.
Maybe if you could like make it really thin and somehow sharp on all sides, then that would essentially be very much the same effectively as a lightsaber. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
And then just random other note, somebody goes, "Shard blades remind me of keyblades from Kingdom Hearts. The blade appears out of nowhere when you hold out your hand. It seems really similar. And they're both highly coveted in their universes." And Brandon's like, "Yeah, shard blades aren't inspired by keyblades specifically, though there is a core inspiration that might be shared by both myself and those creators."
I wonder what that is. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Honestly, now it reminds me the most, which I know these books came out before this game, but it reminds me the most of Final Fantasy 15. The main character there, like he summons all his weapons, and they're all like he can literally summon any type of weapon. So it's like, he wants to use a sword, he wants to use a great sword, then he can use a spear, then he can use daggers. He kind of summons them and they go into his hand as he attacks. So it reminds me a lot of that.
That's how I summoned an F-18 Apache helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. So I guess it's intentional that he's like, yeah, they're all the dead ones are blades, and there's a reason for this. We just don't get to know what that is yet. Yay! Don't you love when that's the answer?
Sure. It could also mean like I haven't figured out that yet.
It could also be that, sure. But okay, let's move into these chapters, y'all. We left off previously with, Risen was about to try to negotiate, and Lopin was about to try to save his cousin from a giant monster because Huio was getting eaten. And so we come back to Lopin. Huio is literally inside the thing's mouth, holding its mandibles apart with a spear, which, that's a position to be in. And Lopin goes and rescues him, and Huio's like, oh, I'm never going to hear the end of this, am I? And
it's all right,
like,
Huio. In a couple pages, you will be the hero.
Yeah. You were going to get eaten. You're going to get swallowed by a giant monster. Can we focus on the fight? Have you heard about the time I saved Huio from being swallowed? Oh, yes, he was getting eaten by a monster uglier than the women he courts. Like,
oh, that's mean.
Like what Huio says at the end of the thing, I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, come on. That's not nice.
But also, Huio has no Stormlight because some little flying things came through and sucked it all out. And Lopin lets him have some of the stuff from the spheres he's carrying. But we got to watch out for those. And Rua's there, and Lopin's just like, this would be a great time for you to be a shard blade. We got to fight a giant freaking monster. And Rua's just like, yeah, you're not there yet.
That's not how it works, Lopin.
But I don't hate anyone, and nobody hates me. I'm the Lopin. How could they? These rules sure aren't fair.
That's a line.
Right? Well, I mean, even Huio later is like, I don't hate you, Lopin. Like, how you'd have to be a special kind of like somebody to hate you, but still.
Yeah. I just like, and I know it's supposed to be somewhat comical, but like his words, like, I'll protect people even from myself. It's like, oh, dude, that's kind of messed up.
It's like, shouldn't that just be normal human behavior, dude? Like, whatever. We cut back to Risen, who's going to start the negotiation here. And Nickley's like, I mean, we don't have anything to negotiate. I'm sorry, I don't want to kill you, but I got to kill you, And Nickley's like, I mean, there's nothing that you can give us that we need. And Risen's like, but you need someone who can keep your secrets. And that's the end of that chapter. Very dramatic. We cut back to Lopin and Huio in the fight. Even in this, the novella, we get into like the quick cuts as we're reaching the end here. I have to comment on that because Jaymee's not here to say it. She loves those. And they're trying to protect the sailors. Apparently, that's what Huio was doing before Lopin got here. Was he's trying to let them get away while he distracted the monster. And so now they both have to kind of work on that. But there's really not much they can do. It says like the thing's like a big grub, but like really armored heavily.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And like
armored grub. That sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster.
I could
absolutely see armored grub in attack mode.
If it's a Yu-Gi-Oh monster, it'll probably have racing stripes.
Yeah, it's like I use. Hold on, I'm gonna do my best English dub Joey Wheeler here. Yeah, I use the polymerization card to change armored grub into flying armored grub.
That's disturbing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life. It's fine.
No.
Many Yu-Gi-Oh monsters are disturbing though.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Your move.
Well, I'm gonna summon Radiance and equip them with shard blades. So suck it.
What would a Knights Radiant card be called? Would it be like a group of Knights Radiant, or would it be one Knight Radiant? Like, would it be like?
I'm sure it'd be individual.
I'm gonna summon. It's like I'm gonna summon Lopin, the Herdazian the one-art Herdazian in attack mode.
No, I'm gonna summon the Lopin, second level Radiant or something like that, and it's like
I'm gonna equip it with Bridge 4.
Equip it with Rua.
Bridge 4 would be like a spell card or whatever that the more Bridge 4 you guys you had on the field, the more the
Oh,
stronger they would get.
like a Magic Zone card.
I was thinking like there's a card called that I had in my warrior deck that is like the more warriors you have on the field, it adds like 200 attack points to each of them for each warrior on the field.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not
But
move
hey,
into
man,
this.
that's our. Come on, we're giving the people something extra. That's our Yu-Gi-Oh minute. If you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, which
the
I haven't,
minutia of Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in many years.
I don't think I ever played it. I only watched the show.
It was actually a pretty fun card game back in the day. Not and look, I know a lot of people out there are Magic fans. Like that's the thing. I tried to get into Magic. I played for a few years, never got super into it. The only card game that ever really super grabbed me as an adult was the Dragon Ball Z Super Card game or Dragon Ball Super Card game. But local community here died, so I haven't played it in a long time. I sometimes play the Dragon Ball Card Fusion game online because they have an app on my computer, and it has like animations. It's pretty fun, but I don't have a lot of time to play that anymore. But if there's any listeners out there who ever want to play me in Dragon Ball Super Fusion online, just email Data and I'll try to add you. Email Data like your screen name or whatever, and I'll try to add you and we can play if I got time.
Yeah, I have like I don't have much. Like I used to have a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Got rid of most of it. I have like 2 decks left that every once in a while when it's like, hey, let's play some Yu-Gi-Oh, we'll pull out these 2 decks that are
Right.
different themed but roughly as strong as each other, and then get to play a little bit. But
Yeah.
like we'll take that on cruises sometime, just to have something small that you can walk around and play. Good times.
Good times with the Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was very into the Star Trek. It started out as Star Trek The Next Generation customizable card game when I first started playing it, and eventually became the Star Trek customizable card game. But the thing with all of those games, Yu-Gi-Oh included, like at some point, because they need to keep making expansions and selling more cards,
Yeah.
they have to keep adding like new rules, new kinds
Yep.
of cards, new ways that the game
Yep.
works, and it just gets to be too much.
It gets to be cost prohibitive too, because it's like, okay, if I want to keep up with this game, I have to spend money on these new cards, learn these new techs, and then not only spend the money and learn the text, but like keep that going every time they change the game. And like at a certain point, all my old cards that I originally played the game with and enjoyed either don't work super well with whatever the new like stuff is that's going on, or they're like, oh, well, those cards are too old. You can't use them in like tournament play. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I just wasted that time. So I feel like what you're doing is right. Like you just get a couple decks, hold on to them, and like you just bust them out and you play. It's like it's not, you don't have to go to tournaments and all that. That was probably the only Dragon Ball Super was probably the only time in my life that I like got super competitive with it. Went to like state tournaments, almost went to a national tournament. Decided I didn't need to go all the way to Vegas just to play in a tournament.
Oh, but Vegas, there's lots of stuff you can do there.
Yeah, but my wife was not interested in me going to Vegas to do that. So yeah, I had fun with it. Won a few tournaments, had a good time. Still will play it online, like, just as a one-off every once in a while, but not going to spend lots of time and money on it anymore.
Yeah, sure. I got married in Vegas. We saw the Blue Man Group. It was
Sweet.
good time.
I want to go back to Vegas and see Penn and Teller. I like that show Fool Us. Ever
Yes,
watch
I
that?
love Fool Us. Yep.
So I'd like to
I
go
would-
see them.
I would love to see like a big stage magic show like that. Now, I mean, I've seen like smaller ones locally, but like a big high value production
Yeah.
sort of
I think-
magic show. I think
I've
that
never
would be
seen that in person, and that'd be something I'd want to do on the bucket list for sure.
Okay, back to
Yeah,
back to
we've
the book that we're
digressed
reading.
enough.
That was a big old okay. Oh man, and like Dak can't even participate because he's like, I don't know, Vegas. What's
Yeah.
this other
That
side
is-
of the planet?
I mean, I've been to America many times. I've never been to Vegas. I don't have the money for that.
It was, I mean, we didn't have to spend that much, especially because we went on a weekday. We went on like a Wednesday, and the hotel was super cheap because they want people there to gamble. And it's
You
like
get hotels
the-
very cheap. Yep.
yeah, you can get hotels very cheap. We just walked around and looked at all the hotels. It's like amazing, just like the amount of stuff they
Oh yeah.
do. So
It's funny, like there's some stuff out in front of the Venetian because the Venetian's supposed to be like Venice, and it's like I've been to Venice. I had pictures of us in front of like these landmarks in Venice, and then I got pictures of us in front of the exact same landmarks, but at the Vegas version of Venice. It was funny. Okay. Lopin and crew, they're fighting this giant grub, and their spears really can't do much against the armor. He keeps trying to get like hit it in the eye or some, a vulnerable spot. It's a rock guy. It doesn't have any vulnerable spots. But they're having a lot of trouble. And I love that, like, Kustlid, the armsman, he's like, Radiant Lopen, maybe you could summon your shard blade? And he's like, afraid not. It's political.
Like, I don't have one of those. It's a whole thing.
The guy's like, political? It's like, yeah, you got to say these words. And I said them because they're good words, but the Stormfather sure has no sense of style. So he's like, we're going to lead it further inland. You guys get on the boats, get back to the ship. And he's like, what? No, we can't lead it back to the ship. It could sink the ship. He's like, okay, fine. Then you guys go inland. But if we're running, we might encourage it to move off and attack the ship since we're not here to, like, hold its attention anymore. And he's like, damn it. What? Fine. Okay. We'll just have to deal with that if it happens. Like, he even tries lashing a spear straight at the eye, which I think was a very clever move, but it doesn't quite work. Just after it glances off right next to the eye, all of a sudden he feels the Stormlight leaving him. And he looks, and there's this little swarm of flying Kremlings. Not like Risen's pet. More bulbous, it says, but they suck the Stormlight out of him, and he goes down hard. Breaks his leg.
Yeah. I was a little... Unless I missed it, I was a little annoyed we didn't get an explanation of that. Like, are they tiny cheeries? What are these things?
We do actually get a little bit of an explanation of that. We'll touch on it.
Okay.
And so we go back to Nickley and Risen, who are talking about... Risen's point is basically like, look, all the stuff you've tried so far has only made people more interested in what is out here. So what you're doing is not working, okay? And their new plan is, I guess, to kill all the humans, and then, like, a few of them will pretend to be humans from the ship, and they'll go back to port and be like, oh no, the storm was so terrible, everyone died. There was just a destroyed Oathgate and fake gem hearts and blah, blah, blah. So no one tries to come back.
Yeah, I feel like Risen's right. That's a bad plan.
Well, initially, Risen's like, oh, damn it, that might work. Shit, I gotta come up with, like, a reason why that won't work. And then she's like, look, you guys are so bad at pretending to be humans. Like, you could barely fool people by pretending to be, like, a foreigner who didn't really know our customs and stuff. And you have to have all the tattoos to hide the seams from the Kremlings one on top of the other. You really think you can fool everyone into believing you're actually us and believing your crazy story? And it's like, oh, damn it, that's a good point.
It would have been more funny if he was like, yeah.
Like Joker. Like, yeah.
You think you get to just walk away? Yeah.
I was thinking more Serenity. It's like you want to be the captain of this boat? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you can't.
Can't.
It's like you really think these lies are gonna work? Yeah. Well, I won't.
Like, oh, crap.
Yeah. You just take that attitude and get it out of here, guy. That's not gonna work. God, I'm glad he didn't think it was gonna work.
And then I love Cord. She comes back in the room, and she's got a plan. I don't know. She worked out this plan, and she goes, "I challenge you to a duel to the death." And Nickley's like, "I mean, you can't kill me, so I guess if you really want to, but like, it's not gonna go well for you." And then she's like, "Ha! You have been tricked. I am Hualinam Lunanaki Akilu, the daughter of Numuhuku Makiaki Ialunamor, the Falalikilnor who drew the bow of hours at the dawn of the new millennium, heralding the years of change." Which I had to read all that because what the fuck is what?
Yeah. We really need to know more about Rock. Like, what the hell is going on?
I want to know more about Horn-Eater culture in general.
Yeah.
I just assume she's like pulling out some grand titles because like, oh yeah, my dad like killed one of the shit. What are they called? The Fallen, the Unmade.
No, the Unmade.
With that big ass bow, and she's just like, that's not what the bow was called. It is now.
I would, no joke, read like a brief history of the Horn-Eaters. Like, if it was written as a historical textbook, I would read it.
There's some information about them in the RPG like source book, but I don't think it's there wasn't much more in there than we knew when I read it, if I recall right. But no, she's got this thing. It's like, you can't kill me because then you'd be violating this ancient pact. So now you must forfeit the battle. Like, she had a whole plan worked out to trick them into. And then he's just like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, damn it, these aren't the same gods I thought they were.
She's like, crap. Where she says, we made this deal with other gods, but I thought that these gods would be like bound by the same deal. I guess
How
not.
many gods are there?
Right?
Oh, man, you don't even want to know.
I mean, they call the Spren gods and they call Hoyda gods. So if their criteria is like they come out of the perpendicularity that they're guarding, and that makes you a god or something, well, there's probably a lot of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
If somebody
they-
asks you if you're a god, you say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to categorize their gods.
I mean, it sounds like they do. Like the gods who sleep not are one category, and she's just like, I
Yeah.
thought that they would be bound also.
Yeah, okay. I saw Mortal Kombat 2 yesterday. I'm just thinking, it's like, well, Raiden's a god, but then there's the Elder Gods, and I don't know jack about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat?
Lore.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. I'm going to see that movie on Tuesday. So
Oh
It was
yeah, I
fun.
forgot that new one came out.
I didn't realize until I was actually sitting in the cinema, I somehow booked one of those cinemas where it's like the seats will jolt
Oh.
and vibrate with
Oh,
the
no.
action. I'm like, oh, this seems like a waste of money. However, if there's ever a movie to do it to, it's this dumb action movie that I am going to thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, that kind of stuff makes me sick. I can't do it.
Yeah, fair enough. It's like I probably will never do it again. Now I know that's what the category means.
Oh well, yeah. Now you know. Knowing's half the battle.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, that's like there's a showing at that time. I don't know what that category of cinema means, but like that viewing time works for me. And then I sat down, I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like every once in a while, maybe like a Top Gun or something, it might be worth the extra use of money to get the whole, but not usually.
Mm.
Okay, Cord's like, yeah, my plan didn't work. What are we gonna do? And Risen's like, well, I'm gonna try to make a deal. And Cord says, the gods who sleep not are guardians of life. They seek to prevent its end. Use that. And Risen's like, oh, is that right? Are you guys actually protectors of life? And Nicholas like, I mean, yeah, kinda. We have seen the end of worlds and vowed never to let such an awful event happen again. But we will kill the few to protect the many if we must. So, geez, okay, I want to know more about that, but I guess we're not gonna.
The needs of the many outweigh.
Was it here or was it somewhere else? I said it's like they're actually not from this planet. They came from somewhere else.
It
Is that did I read that right?
it sounds like yes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they know they're dealing with forces that are seemingly, at least the way I'm reading it, greater than what we've dealt with so far, right? Like they're directly talking about ad nauseum. So like
Yeah.
my thought there is like the ad nauseum stuff. I don't know, the way it's like if we've seen the end of worlds, right? So it's like if ad nauseum was defeated at some point, the Cosmere may have been made up of worlds that like ad nauseum created or something, and like this is just what I'm reading from the subtext of that statement. It's like when ad nauseum was defeated, all the worlds were destroyed, and like the people with the shards of ad nauseum went out and made new worlds or something. That would be my guess based on which makes me think these guys are like spacefaring, because it's like how could they, if they've seen it, how could they exist outside of a world? And but anyway, that's literally what I'm reading just from that one statement. So
Well, we do know that some of the shards created worlds, like Scadrial. I think we've been told was like created by ruin and preservation to
right.
experiment and play or whatever on. But we've also been specifically told in one of the letters, I think, that this planet Roshar like bears the, how did it phrase it? It's like bears the touch of Adonalsium's design or something like that. Like this planet was designed by Adonalsium.
Okay. So some of them still exist.
Yeah. So yeah, not all of them were destroyed, at least, if that was the case. But yeah, who knows exactly what he means when we've seen the end of worlds. But it doesn't sound good, whatever it is.
No, ending of worlds usually isn't something that you look forward to.
Unless you're Ruin. Ruin is all about that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
And so he says that the storm has protected this place for centuries, only recently weakened enough to let people through. So I guess a few years back, the storm would have just killed anybody. So it may also be that ships have been improving. Maybe that's part of it, but whatever.
Well, yeah, like when you think about it, how would the storm weaken, right? Like, obviously, we may just not know like the powers at play here, but like, how would that come to pass?
It depends on what's creating it, right? Like,
yeah. Could like the Everstorm be the thing that weakened that storm? Like, what's the dealio?
That would make a sense.
What is the deal?
But eventually, Nicholas like, you know what? Okay, let's talk, and sits down at the negotiating table. And Risen's like, yeah, here we go. And then Lopin's out here. No more Stormlight. Leg broken. Please, gods of the ancient Herdazians, don't let me get killed by a monster that looks so stupid. Please.
That one got me. That was fucking brilliant.
Yep.
Just looks so stupid.
And Lopin's just like he's trying to like crawl away basically, and Huio's coming in trying to protect him also. And then there's a moment where like Huio looks over at Lopin and then looks back and like sets himself to defend Lopin. And Lopin's like, "No, Huio!" And then all of a sudden Huio explodes with light, and a giant shard hammer forms in his hand.
He's like, I will protect even my annoying cousin.
But it's just like, knowing what we know of the vows, like the implications here when I first read it, it's like, oh my god, does he actually just hate Lopin? Has Lopin just been misreading him this whole time? Like, that was my first thought. And then my second thought was, what good is a shard hammer? Like, part of the whole thing of the shards is they can cut through anything, but a hammer is not designed to cut.
I guess if you like smash it hard enough, it disappears. I don't know.
Well,
Well, I
that's-
mean, any touch, right? They just have to touch.
That's an excellent point, actually. Yeah, like because it says he crushes one of the monster's arms, and like violet goo sprays everywhere. Which generally there's not even any bleeding with a shard blade; it just cuts.
Yeah.
So-
What are we playing at here, Brandon?
Would any hammer have functioned just as well? And just Huio likes a hammer, so that's what he's using. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
weird.
I don't know.
That's fine. I hadn't even thought about that. But that's a really good point.
Design flaw. Design flaw.
Oh.
His spread is somewhere near. It's like, Huio, you know, if I was something sharp, this would go a lot better. And Huio's like, shut the fuck up, I'm holding you.
I like hammers. I like turtles, and I like hammers.
You will now call me Captain Hammer.
Yeah. By the way, the hammer is not my penis in this case.
Okay, there you go. Good. We cut back to Nickley and Risen negotiating. And Risen's like, so you guys want to find a way to avoid killing. I can help you. And Nickley's like, no, we want to avoid losing control of a force that could destroy the Cosmere. That's what we want. Though we do want to minimize suffering in the process, okay? I'll give you that.
It's like we're all about killing if it's for the greater good.
And so Risen's basic proposition is like, look, if you kill us all and then try to tell this story, nobody's going to believe it. It's just going to draw more interest. But if you leave us alive and we also tell a story, then people will believe it. Although Nickley first says, look, even if we come to some kind of agreement, the sailors are going to have to die. Like this. And Risen's like, no. It is not negotiable, the lives of the captain and the crew. They're my responsibility. That's not even on the table. And Nickley's like, well, see, I told you, we're not going to reach a deal. And we get a little bit of biology on the Sleepless here, where it's like, Nickley says, your body's made up of little pieces called cells. My body's made up of pieces too.
What are they called?
That's a flawed analogy, I feel.
Yeah. No joke.
A little bit, maybe.
My cells don't split off and become a fucking cloud of crustaceans.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Crustacean Cloud, new band name, I call it.
She says Kremlings, and he says, well, we're not native to this planet. We prefer the term Hordlings. She's like, and one of them is your brain. And he's like, actually, many of them are my brain. We store memories in specialized Hordlings bred for that purpose.
Oh my god, this is weird.
So it's like they had to create brain bugs to put the brains in.
These are my brain bugs. Say hello, brain bugs.
It took my people 300 years of selective breeding to achieve Hordlings capable of imitating human fingers. And most of us are still terrible at it. That's a long time for fingers, I gotta say. But fingers are useful, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're sitting here discussing what is happening here. There are forces in the Cosmere we can barely identify, evil forces who would end worlds if they could, and they're hunting for this place. Now that the ancient guardians of Akina are all but extinct, we, the Sleepless, must protect it. They could cause the death of billions. And he waves towards the mural. He's like, the Dawnshard is... And that's when he realized what has happened. What have you done? And she's like, oh, I just looked at it, and he like loses his shit for a minute here, and the Hordlings start like swarming over her.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like this one thing that we were supposed to protect above everything else, and then while you're talking about it, you're like, oh, you took it.
You took our shit. Give it back. And that chapter ends with a roar shaking the cavern. It's like, oh no, what is this shit now? And then we cut back to Lopin, who he's like, Huio beat me to the third ideal, but then he's like, you know, I'm happy for him and his friend. Okay, but still, his cousin didn't even have the decency to look embarrassed.
Embarrassed about saving your life?
And then the hammer turns into a spear, and Huio hurls it at the monster. And it's like it wasn't like a great shot, but it doesn't have to be with a shard weapon. It just goes straight through the thing's head.
I'm a surgeon with this. Not that I have to be at this range, but I'm a surgeon with this. Shard
Like,
blade.
see, like turns it into something that does piercing damage, and straight away insta kill.
Yeah, there you go. And so Monster is down. The problem being, as they watch, 6 more start coming out of the water. So that's bad. That's very, very bad.
Oh, come on, you could just summon a shard, turn him into like a I don't know, shard boomerang or something, and just zip 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 take them all out at once.
That would be amazing, actually. I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder if your Spren can like manipulate how once it turns into one of these shard weapons, if it can manipulate how it flies through the air. That would be super helpful. You could be like fucking Yondu with the arrow.
That would be amazing.
Oh, that reminds me. They released a trailer on that Avatar: Last Airbender fighting game of Sokka, and he uses all his different weapons. It's pretty cool.
Nice boomerang. Yeah, I like it.
Boomerang, his club, his space sword. He's got it all.
I do like the space sword too. Yeah. We cut back to Nickley and Risen, and the roar is like shaking the whole cave. And they're like, "What the hell is that?" And then they look over, and from that other room with the big dead great shell skulls, here comes Chiri, who roars again, but it's or I don't know. It says that the first roar clearly wasn't her because it's like she gave it her best shot, and she makes this tiny roar because she's a little, and it's like. So I don't know what it was roaring the first time, if it was her or what, but it's cute when she comes in. It's like roar, and so apparently the Larkin, like Chiri, were these ancient guardians that Nickley was talking about that are all but extinct, and so the Sleepless have had to try to take their place protecting the Dawnshard. At the fall of your kind, mine took up the mantle, Nickley says, and Risen's like, and that secret thing is like in my brain somehow, and Nickley's like, well, we're gonna fix that. We'll do some lobotomy real quick. It'll be real easy.
Please don't lobotomize me. I need my brain for thinking.
They try to argue that, like, no, this is like Chiri wants us to do this. The Spren brought us here. This was supposed to happen. Cord says, look, Chiri's one of them. She returned to protect the treasure. And Nickley says, no, Chiri had reached the size where she needed to bond a Mandra to continue growing. Do you guys remember Mandra?
No.
No.
So the ship that they sailed on in Shadesmar was pulled by the Mandra.
Oh.
And in Oathbringer, they have a whole discussion about how, like, the Mandra, when they appear on the other side, we call them these Luxspren, and you see them hanging around great shells and sky eels, and we think that maybe they have something to do with how those things fly. And then
Interesting.
I guess
Okay.
Kaladin was like, but great shells don't fly. And Shalon was like, actually, like this one person did the math, and they kind of do, because they should collapse under their own weight, but they don't. And so maybe this has something to do with it. And so here we are. Chiri has to come to this island to bond with one because she's gotten too big. So somehow bonding, like, these great shells can bond with these things in order to get bigger without crushing themselves.
Okay.
And then Risen's, they're all trying to argue, like, she didn't do anything wrong. Risen's like, the force in my mind asked me to choose. It wanted me to accept it, whatever it is. And Nickley's like, no, it didn't. The Dawnshard isn't alive. It doesn't want things. You stole it. So Dawnshards have been, Brandon has teased things about Dawnshards for a long time because they get mentioned here and there, but never with, even at this point, like you guys point out, even in this book, there's not a whole lot of information that it actually gives us about what the Dawnshards are, how they work, or anything like that. But there was one Q&A that I read where, let's see, Brandon mentions that the Dawnshards protect themselves. I think he phrases it as they self-protect. And somebody was like, well, then why did they need the Larkin and the Sleepless and stuff to protect them? Or this one, anyway. And he was like, maybe that's how they self-protect. They somehow got these things to come and protect them. Or it, in this case. There's only one here.
What? It's like the One Ring. It like wills people to protect it. It's weird.
I don't have much more information than that. That's just something I read today. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. So Nickley's being like, it doesn't want things. But Brandon is hinting that it's like, well, it has the ability to kind of like make people want to protect it somehow. And Risen is even like, she can feel it's not living, but it's something else. a
It's
command.
not living, but it is something.
And Rizen's like, well, let's continue negotiating. And Nickley's like, you're a thief. You can't bargain with stolen goods. And Nickley tells her that she cannot employ it. It's beyond your capacity. But there are those in the Cosmere who could use it for terrible acts. And Rizen kind of takes this and she twists the whole situation, basically, where she's like, look, your secret has been leaking out. Even if you kill me, get this thing back. You're like bailing a boat that's sinking at this point. Everything is falling apart. Your lies undermine each other. So what if you hid this super dangerous thing you don't want anyone to find somewhere no one would think to look, like some random human woman? And then everyone is looking, like, you keep hiding this place, and everyone's like, oh, that's where they're hiding it. And they go there and they're searching for this thing and they can't find it because it's not there anymore. And we have to come up with a lie, but the best idea is to make the lie as similar to the truth as possible. We'll say, we came in here, we found the plate and the soulcasters, you guys attacked us to protect the treasures, but you were impressed by Chiri, one of the ancient guardians, and blah, blah, blah. And we negotiated and you let us go. And Nickley's kind of coming around to her way of thinking. It's like, okay, so, I mean, it's not a perfect solution, but I get what you're saying, that it's like a better solution than what we're doing, basically. But they'll push to find the truth. They'll realize something is going on. And Rizen's like, yeah, we'll have to have a second layer of secrets. Something that they can discover when they push harder, but that's still not the real thing. We'll tell the queens, like, an even more subtle lie that's even closer to the truth, that I negotiated with you guys for this treasure. You guys are so bad at pretending to be human. We'll say that I agreed to train you to how to be more human, which I will actually do to make it seem real. And I love that they have all these soulcasters, and they're like, yeah, no, that's pretty much useless for us. We just keep them because they were offerings to the ancient guardians, so it's like a reverence thing. You can have those. We don't care. But the plate was being saved for to someone who could be the guardian of the Dawnshard. So if Cord's going to take that plate, she has to agree to do that. And Cord's like, maybe. We'll see. I have many loyalties that come before this thing, she says. And then the Sleepless have to hold a vote, because that's how they do it. They vote and see what they want to do. And, okay, so we get a little more details about the Dawnshards. Nickley says, mere words cannot explain it. The Dawnshards are commands, the will of a god. And she's like, Rizen's like, I always imagined them, they were weapons, like the honor blades, the mythical honor blades. The most powerful forms of surge binding transcend mortal understanding. All their greatest applications require intent and a command, which we've heard of capital C commands in Awakening, and intent has been important in lots of Cosmere magic. The Dawnshards, the 4 primal commands that created all things, and then eventually were used to undo Adonalsium itself.
Yeah, so primal commands. So, like,
Boom.
yeah. So, and what was the mural of for this Dawnshard? Was it
It was like an
a
exploding sun that split into 4 pieces, and each of those pieces split into 4 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is, it says that these were the commands used to create all things. And so what we basically translated that as is that these were created presumably by Adonalsium.
I don't know.
These
It
are-
sounds like they're even precursors to Adonalsium is what it sounds like to me.
The fandom guess at this point is like, these are the commands that Adonalsium used to create the Cosmere, essentially, these 4 capital C commands.
Mm-hmm.
But they were eventually used to undo Adonalsium itself, meaning that the people who killed Adonalsium somehow got a hold of these commands and turned them against Adonalsium and used them as weapons to destroy God.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't have enough Cosmere knowledge because we haven't read everything. But like, it sounds like they're even bigger than that. It sounds to me in this description that like the commands existed outside of the Cosmere and were used to shape it. But like, I don't know. That doesn't sound quite right to me based on what we've read.
Okay. It does seem that like these people use them to kill God, and that's what the mural may be depicting, is Adonalsium being splintered into like the 16 shards.
So is it like the 4 primal commands then got split into 4 themselves, and that's why there's the 16 shards? So each of the shards makes up a command?
Actually, there are some theories that like, okay, so well, hold on, let me start with this command. The Dawnshard that Risen has found is change. That's what it said in all caps when she got it. That is the command that is represented by this Dawnshard is change. And people have theorized that maybe, like, if these were used to kill Adonalsium, then maybe each of the shards, you could like group 4 of the shards into like thematically into one of the Dawnshard commands. So like you could say like cultivation, growth, or whatever, and maybe ruin and something else. Those could all fall under the header of change. So that is a popular theory. Somebody asked Brandon about it, and he's like, "That's some really interesting lines for you to theorize on." So basically, not really giving us any information, but
Yep.
that is a theory people have had that he didn't immediately shoot down. So it could be. But that also raised an interesting question for speculation about, well, what are the other 3 commands? This is change. What else could there be? And there's another time in the books that we have read where somebody is in a like cave and gets this single word, all caps letter, like from some force that they don't recognize. Kelsier in the Pits of Hathsin gets told to survive. And so there was a theory that could be one of them also. I don't remember if Brandon shot that down.
Oh.
But that's the kind that I pull that out to say that's the sort of theorizing that people were doing after this book came out based on this new information about the Dawnshards. So
was this book come out before or after Rhythm of War?
I believe it came out just before Rhythm of War, but let me double check because maybe I'm just thinking because it's set just before Rhythm of War, but let's see. Rhythm of War. Rhythm of War came out November 20. Yes, this came out 12 days before Rhythm of War.
Jesus, okay.
Wow. So he was like, here it is, guys.
I think this may have been like, if I remember right, this may have been part of a crowdfunding campaign or something. Like, you also get Dawnshard if you backed this crowdfunding campaign. And
okay.
I don't remember 100%, but that's one of the things that is in my brain from something. Anyway, but yes, so it illustrative of how dangerous. Nickley's over here like this could kill billions of people. Apparently, this is one of the things that helped kill God. So clearly, yes, could be very dangerous if you could actually use it, which he says she cannot.
Wow.
Okay, here's where it explains what those things are that we saw. Nickley says, we once assumed that the last of the Lancerin, which is, he says are also called Larkin, that they died, and the few Hordlings that we had bred with them were all that remained. Inferior bloodlines, though they give us the ability to negate some applications.
So that's what those things are. They bred them somehow with Larkins. Interesting.
Yeah. So larger great shells need to bond the Mandras. You call them Luxbrand to keep from crushing themselves under their own weight. There's the explanation of that, in case you forgot what we were explained in Oathbringer, which, I mean, Oathbringer's so freaking long, how could you not?
I just like the idea that, like, great shells are bonding with Spren, kind of like the Radiants.
Yep. Indeed.
That's a cool little detail.
It really it opens up what the hell goes on in the ecosystem of Roshar if other things can bond with Spren as well.
Yeah.
And Chiri will have to come back every few years until she's fully grown. And Risen's like, oh crap, fully grown. She looks and there's those giant skulls in the other room. Like, oh no, my pet is going to get very large. It's like when you get a puppy and you don't realize it's a Great Dane or something.
Why did you buy large breed puppy chow?
Exactly. That's exactly what was in my head. Dresden Files. That's nice.
But like also, it's like, buying food for this creature that is this big. It's like, well, the money is the food, so you're gonna bankrupt me.
I mean, it just sucks the Stormlight out. It's not like you lose the money; you can recharge it later. And so the Sleepless get together and they vote, and they come back and it's like they listen to you, and we will take your deal with a couple of more caveats. One is that you may never bond a Spren to become a Radiant, and does not explain why that is. Although it really makes you wonder, like, what about being a Radiant would make the situation different? And also, you cannot tell anyone else what has happened unless you ask us first. So, like, we understand humans need to confide in other humans, but you got to run it by us first.
That seems reasonable.
That's surprisingly reasonable. Yeah. And I will take a moment. I'm sad Jaymee's not here because Jaymee has repeatedly expressed that she hoped that this would end with like Risen being healed somehow, which we know it does not at this point. But one of the things I remember from reading the beta feedback and listening to Brandon talk about the feedback that he got on this book was people like beta readers that he had that I talked about before. He went to people with various disabilities and had them read to try to, make things seem genuine with Risen being paraplegic. And one of the things that apparently was a complaint from a lot of people about how these things are treated in fantasy is that it's most often depicted as like something that needs to be fixed. If you have some sort of handicap, disability, whatever, in a fantasy world, it's just like, oh, how can magic fix me to make me whole again, to make me whatever? And how does that look to people who they're like, I don't want to see myself in one of these stories only to have them be like, well, that's a thing that's wrong that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, like it's something inherently wrong that has to be fixed or you can't be good. Yeah, that makes sense.
You can't be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we talked about if she became a Radiant, she might be able to heal herself. And that's, I think, one of the meta reasons why Brandon has them go, you can never become a Radiant. Showing that he's listened to this. He's like, I'm not going to go down that line where it's like, oh, we're going to fix her and make her good again. Another one of the reasons why I chose the song Perfect about like, I'm perfect just the way I am as the song for this book.
Oh, nice.
And so, we may have to touch on this next time that Jaymee's on and get her opinion on that because I feel like she was expressing, well, a lot of people probably feel, a lot of people who aren't in that situation are like, oh, well, obviously they're going to find a way to like fix what happened to her. Right. But he's intentionally not doing that to give people in that situation a feeling of representation in these books. At least not yet. I don't know. Maybe he'll go back on that at some point.
I feel like if he's kind of made this pledge, then he's probably not going to walk it back later.
I would hope not. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason for that. And I'm sure there's also an in-universe reason that we just haven't heard yet about like, oh, if someone was a Radiant and also was the Dawnshard, then it would do blah, blah, blah. But I think the outside of the book reason is about that.
Yeah. And it's like the thing with Brandon is he could just say, oh, I don't, like, maybe I'll do something with this later, maybe I won't. But if I just write this in there and leave it mysterious, I've got an out for when I want to, like, explain something later.
Yeah, there's all sorts of story potential if you don't answer the question for sure right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cord says, I can't commit to, like, defending the Dawnshard. I'm not a warrior. I got to train first. And Risen points out, it'll also be super suspicious if I have someone following, like a shard bearer following around and protecting me when I'm supposed to be inconspicuous as the location of the Dawnshard.
That's true. It's like I have this, it's like we came back from this secret island trip, and now not only does she have shard plate, she's my personal bodyguard for some reason.
I'm just that cool, you know? And so we end the chapter with, well, she has this, she's like, so is Risen a shard bearer now? Like a Dawn shard bearer? And Nickley's like, no, she doesn't bear something. She is the Dawnshard. That's how it works. Which somebody asked Brandon about that. And so before her, the mural was the Dawnshard. I don't understand the distinction exactly, but he is very clear on that point.
Questions for later.
Yeah, questions for later, exactly. So yeah, that's the end of the numbered chapters, and we get to the epilogue where Lopen is talking first to Rushu. Well, no, he's not talking to Rushu. He's with Rushu.
I beg your pardon. He is talking to the rocks.
To the rocks.
Yeah.
Because the rocks made one of the monsters trip, and it saved his life, and he has to thank them for that. And I love Rushu's over here like, could you be less weird, maybe? Like, for a day, just try it out.
Well, while I can appreciate the sentiment, you do not have a leg to stand on, Rushu.
She so doesn't. It's true. I mean, she's super absent-minded and stuff. Maybe she's slightly more normal than Lopen, but I don't think there's that much in it, honestly. And then she's like, didn't your cousin literally save your life? And he's over here thinking, yeah, thanking Huio is going to be harder. I got to practice on the rocks, make my way up to that. And so they find out that, yeah, Risen got them the soul casters, got some shard play. She negotiated the monsters into surrender, and they left them alone. We still lost 3 of the sailors, but overall, like, shockingly positive outcome for how things were looking a couple chapters ago. And I love Huio's like, I can't believe we're getting away. What do you think happened in the cavern? And Lopin goes, none of our business, I think. And he goes, wise words, younger cousin. And Lopin brings it up. It's like, so third ideal, huh? That's the one where you protect people you hate, according to Teft and Kaladin, and you looked at me right before you did it.
Also, there's a note here that Sigzil did it. Did we see
does it
that,
say
or does that
that?
just happen off page?
Hold on, I don't remember seeing Sigzil do it. I don't. Where is
So-
this? Where is this?
Yeah,
in the book?
it says here, that's the ideal where you agree to protect people you hate. At least it was for Kaladin, Teft, and Sig.
Oh, it does, and Sig. So yeah, he must have done it while we weren't looking. That's pretty awesome.
God damn it, Sigzil's one of my favorite of Bridgefall. Why did I get to see that?
Was he one of the ones that that was with Kaladin at Koldanar?
No, he
No.
was not. That
Okay,
was Star and Drahe, if I remember right. So,
That was Scar and Drahe, yeah.
well, good for you, Sig. Man.
Maybe he battered something attacking Hoyd away, and Hoyd's like, I take exception to this.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, maybe. So he asked Huio, like, what's up with that dude? And he was like, look, I don't hate you. It would take a special kind of bitter soul to hate you. But you
Really
can be a
harping on the
pain.
fact that, like, man, like, who could hate Lopin in these chapters?
I know, right? It's like, me and Punio and Fleeta, even Mama Lond, the way you joke can sometimes hurt us. And he's like, but I joke with people I love. It's how I am. He's like, yeah, does it have to be, though? Could you sure tease a little less? And Lopin has this very introspective moment where he's like, is that really how I come off? Like, I'm just trying to make people laugh and stuff, but if I'm hurting people.
And this is why I prefer Lopin to Wayne. Because Wayne would not care.
Or we certainly wouldn't get this introspection on page.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel like Wayne might introspect a little and then kind of brush it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he would play it off as like he would introspect and then he'd be like, nah, everything's good.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And he has to ask his friend, like, do my jokes really hurt people? Do other people complain about me? And Rua just kind of like shrugs and nods at him.
Like, yeah.
And he's like, I'm just trying to make people smile. Oh, and he like has this hurt inside. And he starts to like, it says he wants to curl up and never say another word. And then he thinks, no, I got to take this like Bridge 4. Arrow to the heart, you pull it out and you heal and you move on.
Good
He's
for
like,
you,
okay,
Lopin.
I'm going to protect people, even from myself. Got to rededicate to being the best Lopin possible. A better, improved, extra incredible Lopin. He still can't
Extra
be
incredible.
Yeah.
He still can't have humility, but
No. But like, I really appreciate it. It's entirely in character, but he still takes on board what he has been told and resolves to do better. Like, I am all here for it. I fucking love this. And
Yeah.
the fact that once again, like, just accidentally his way into the next ideal. Chef's kiss.
Right. Yeah, it goes back to that conversation we've had, like, about Moash and even Wayne to an extent. It's like, just because you make a sacrifice or just because you do something noble, like, doesn't make up for, like, all of the other stuff, right? Like, Wayne sacrificed himself at the end, which is very noble, right?
Yep.
But, like, you know,
Yep.
he was kind of a dick.
it's true. It's true. And you're right. He never like, I mean, okay, in some ways he actually did work on making himself better. Like he
Being
stopped.
kinder to Steris.
He was never super nice to Steris. He improved on that a little bit. I was thinking more about
Also,
Renette.
she got to his speed a bit more.
She
and
did.
was able to-
She kind of
So,
gave
like,
it
Yeah,
back
that's
some.
true.
And that's not really a Wayne win there. That's more of a stare. It's just like, I can fucking deal with you, mate.
But he stopped being like gross and coming on to Renette when he finally internalized that like, oh, she has a girlfriend. She's really not going to be interested in me. It didn't stop him from proposing like a threesome with her and her girlfriend at one point, but
Mhm.
they made it seem like on the whole he was doing a lot better in that particular social situation.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was still like stealing Wax's stuff and committing identity theft at times.
yeah. So he had a little bit of improvement. We don't know for sure. Like Lopin seems here like he's determined to improve. We don't know how much improvement he'll actually show, but it does feel like this is more determination to toward this direction than we saw from Wayne. I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair.
And it's like he came to it like, yeah, Huey had to tell him like this is how it goes, and then he took that on board and then resolved himself. Like it didn't feel like he was pushed into it. It wasn't just like, all right, I'll do better. It was like oh shit, I got to do better.
Yeah, and he didn't shrug it off. He didn't shy away from it. He was just like, yeah, like I don't want the people I care about to see me that way. Like I didn't realize that was the effect I was having on them.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He actually listens when someone else tells him you're having this effect, and he goes for a second opinion. Like, am I really? And when someone else tells him yes, also he's like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, he takes it, he internalizes it, and decides to do better. It's really great to see. I agree.
Yeah.
And then he gets these words are accepted. It's like, Storm me, you did it again. Where's the drama?
I guess like in a way it's kind of poetic and funny because it's like he jokes around and messes around so much that it's like he's not getting this the way he wants it, and it's like kind of comical. It's like the joke is getting played on him. It's like, yeah, you wanted it this way, but I'm only gonna accept this, and it's like, God damn it, it's not what I wanted.
He calls out Stormfather as well. He's like, man, you suck at this, and Stormfather's like, I take offense to that.
I love that. It's like, I take offense at that. Be glad for what you have.
It's like, man, like everyone else is like, the Stormfather's always been grumpy, but no one's ever gotten under his skin to the point where it's like, I take offense to that.
Maybe Dalinar has done it a bit, but I agree that it's like I feel like that really is saying something. The Stormfather's like, hey, knock that off.
It's like I'm a primordial force. Like you can't talk to me that way.
Oh man.
It's like I gotta take it from Dalinar. I'm bonded to him. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah. The Lopen.
He immediately starts thinking about all the pranks he could pull with this he can now create like whatever metal weapon, whatever he wants. And then he goes, no, I'm gonna be better. No pranks. Well, maybe fewer pranks.
Some pranks. Some pranks are still okay.
Oh man. Huio, you'll never guess what just happened. And he runs off, and that's the end of his section. And we go back to Risen.
Yeah, but I feel like Huio's response would also be just like, now after the battle.
Quite possibly. You're not wrong.
Like, because like, would Huio assume it's like, yeah, it was actually a prank the whole? Like, did you have that the whole fucking time, and you were just?
That would be so messed up.
Yeah.
Huio like, damn it, Lopen.
Actually.
Yeah, damn it, Lopen. This is why I'm annoyed with you.
I feel like I'm hoping Huio will return the favor and be like, hey, congratulations, man, younger cousin.
Yeah.
We go to Risen, who's back in her cabin, and Cherry is all happy, and she's made her a little nest out of some towels, and she's feeling so much better now, which I like. It's very cute. Also, she's much bigger now and still flying, and Risen's like, will she still be able to fly when she's as big as a chasm fiend? Oh, man. That would be intimidating, a flying chasm fiend.
I've got one better for you. Does that mean Risen has her own steed?
Ooh, when she gets big enough to ride, that would be amazing. Actually,
yeah.
It's like Cherry has to come back to Akina every so often. Well, we've got that covered. Hi ho.
Yeah, flying badger mole, go.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about someone sucking the stormlight out when you fly in if you're riding on a Larkin.
Well, it's like they even said, like they said, it's the Hordlings who were sucking the stormlight out. So it's just like, well, that's not going to happen.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I'm unclear on exactly how welcoming they're going to be of other people coming in now, but
if it's just Risen on Cherry, though, it's like, oh yeah, you guys fly in whenever you want.
Yeah, because they said that they're going to have to periodically come back anyway.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need no boat.
And she has this moment where she's like, does everything taste extra good? And are the colors like brighter than before?
So breath?
Well, so basically, like people ask Brandon about that too. But basically the idea here is if you're heavily invested enough, you get similar effects. So whether it's that you have lots of breath or if you have lots of something else, you get that same sort of increased senses.
Okay.
Right.
So that's interesting because on Scadrial, it's like the increased senses of the increased sense comes from a specific metal.
That's true. Hadn't thought about it like that. Yeah. Then the captain shows up, And I like the captain's like, "Are you really going to let her keep that shard plate?" She's like, "Yeah, she discovered it. It's tradition." And the captain's like, "Well, the Alethi aren't going to be happy, and they have a history of laying dubious but strongly enforced claims to shards." Which I love that wording because I totally believe that.
Yep, that is absolutely in keeping with what we know.
But the Alethi are getting 3 new soul casters out of the deal, and the Thalans are getting 5 when they only ever had 1 before. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I feel like this would go a
Burns.
long way to like making some kind of alliance with the Herdazians, or not the Herdazians, excuse me, the Horn Eaters. It's like just let her have the shard plate. It's going to help you guys, like, in the long run.
Maybe that's a good point. You're giving them their first shards. Well, not giving. You let them claim. Although once again,
Right.
Rock won 3. He just doesn't want to use them.
Yeah. Can you imagine his Horn Eater brethren's like, come on.
I mean, his daughter is already like, really, man?
Yeah, and that to Cord's point before, so it's like they're gonna come for us at some point. So it's like, all right, this might sweeten the pot a bit, and also help them defend.
Yep.
When that happens.
And like the captain's like, "What are they, Risen? They're like monsters out of a nightmare." And Risen's like, "Most people are different from us. Most people who are different from us are frightening at first. But Vistum taught me to look past that, see the humanity in other people, whatever they look like." And the captain's like, "They told me what you did." And she's like, "Oh crap, wait, they told you about the Dawnshard?" She doesn't say that because that would be a bad idea.
That would. Can you imagine? Worst secret keeper ever. They told you about the Dawnshard? Like, wait, what?
What? No, they told me you had a chance to bargain for your own life and that you wouldn't enter negotiation unless it included the safety of the crew. And Risen's like, "I mean, yeah, that's what any like Rebsk would do." And Cap's like, no, it's what any good Rebsk would do.
Yeah, that's true.
And hey, you know what? On the next journey, maybe you could steer the ship for a little bit. And Risen's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, thank you."
Oh
I'd be
shucks,
honored."
thanks, Captain.
Let's hope the next one is a more traditional voyage. And Risen's like, "I'm gonna pick the most boring trade expedition I can find. All right, we all need a break after that one."
Famous last words.
Well, yeah, and then it ends with like, she doesn't think that boring and mundane are ever going to accurately describe her life again. I mean, she's permanently followed by tiny crab people or pieces of crab people. Anyway, yeah,
It's
probably boring is not in the cards. So that is the end of that novella of Dawnshard. And as I mentioned before, we are going into our review for the next episode. We're going to take a week break, and then while I'm at Disney, and we're going to go into the review after that. And after that, we're starting Rhythm of War with the prologue and chapters 1 and 2. I've actually done some monkeying with because I had it mapped out at 38 episodes before, and I worked on increasing. Okay, so before I worked on during the last book, we did an experiment where I increased the length, and the episodes ended up being kind of long. I worked on reordering things, so I increased the length by like half of what I increased it before, and just had more episodes that are closer to our maximum that we usually do than we had before. It is now mapped out at 32 episodes for Rhythm of War.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I managed to trim 6 episodes out. We're going to try it for the first couple this little bit longer than our previous max and see if that doesn't bloat the time too much. And if not, then we will continue with that and shoot for the 32 episodes. But so yeah, we're going to do prologue and chapters 1 and 2 when we start Rhythm of War episode after next for people following along. So get Rhythm of War if you don't have it already and you want to follow along. In the meantime, predicments. I don't know. We finished up a story. You guys usually don't have that much to predig at the end of a story, but I'm going to give you the opportunity. What do you think? Where are we going? Based on all this new information we have, what do you guys think is going to happen?
Good question. I had not prepared for this, actually, because, again, end of book. Okay, well, Bridge 4's got 2 more shard bearers, so that's going to help out a lot with their windrunner duties. I feel like we're going to have to start. I know Huio is not great with languages, but I feel like he's now one of 5 shard bearers we've figured out in the Windrunners. So he's going to have to. They're going to have to do something to try and work on that for him, because he's just become a whole lot more important. There's that whole becoming important at work thing.
Got to be careful about that, man.
Yeah. So if I had to guess, I'd say we're probably going to see quite a bit more of Huio in the next book, which I'm all for, because the time we spent with him here, I'm like, this guy's great. We need more of him. Yeah, I don't know. Like Risen has become such a central character in this, despite she's only been interludes, and then did you have a no? She didn't have a chapter in Oathbringer. She had like a couple of interludes, I
She had
think.
some. She had. It may have just
What does
been
she have?
one really long interlude, and then she also appeared. Like Dawnshard talked to her in one of his chapters, but we didn't even get her name then. It was just we could tell who it was.
Okay, so she's really only had the 3 interludes across the books. One with
I think
like
so.
going to Shinovar, one with going to the Reshi Isles, and then one back in Thalen. That was a big one then in Thalen because she had to meet Babsk and then like stop the theft. So
Yep.
okay, all right. Well, based on that, Risen is probably going to get at least one more interlude in Rhythm of War, where there'll be more talk between her and the Sleepless. I think it's weird the Sleepless keep showing up in the novellas and barely in the like the main books.
True.
And if they are, that's like you're not really acknowledged. So I feel like that's going to have to change at some point because they're getting more and more engrossed in what's going on. But yeah, maybe we'll probably see a bit more of Risen from other characters' perspective. And it's like, what's with those weird tattooed guys who keep following her around? And one of them, like, he looks at me and it's like, but his eyes point in different directions. What's that about?
What a good
Yeah.
question. That no, I could see how that would look strange.
Yep.
Oh man. No, that makes sense. And like we've now just dumped a big important thing onto Risen, like one of 4 of these super powerful things that exist in the Cosmere. It does seem like her importance has turned up a bit.
Yeah, it's just like even the note, like they come out and say it here, like these forces were used to undo Adonalsium. It's like that's like the core thing at the heart of all these books, just casually thrown out there. So that like realistically, that should put the events of this novel in terms of importance up there with Secret History in terms
Yep.
of this is the pulling back the curtain on everything. So yeah, Risen's got to have a major part to play in the end game of everything.
Yep. Well, and the weird thing is, like you say, she may have like another interlude in like the next book or whatever, but she is now important in a way that she can't tell people about. So
Yeah.
it's like the Dresden Files short story about like the Oblivion War, where it's like
yeah.
the whole
Ooh,
point of it
don't
is
talk too much about that stuff. I'm not there. Don't do it.
okay.
That's okay. Without spoilers, like the whole point of the Oblivion War is Harry can never know.
Yeah, right.
So you played some part in a big role, and then he got Men in Black. is what
Well,
you're
it's
saying.
the short story from Thomas's perspective. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But,
Thomas Men in Blacked his brother, or Thomas did a bunch of stuff around his brother, and his brother couldn't know about it.
yeah,
again,
something like that.
without spoilers, in one of the later books, they return to the scene of something that happened in that short story, and Harry's like, "I never did find out what the deal was with that guy."
Yes, I love I love those kind
And
of
Thomas
references.
is like,
yeah, exactly.
I love those because that's the kind of thing he puts in there where it's like if you read the short stories, you get this extra like interesting stuff, and if you didn't, it's like, oh, well, I guess that was some weird random adventure that Harry went on that is just very tangentially related to what's going on now.
Yeah.
Okay, I found a couple of words of Brandon I wanted to read now that we're at the end of Dawnshard. One of them I mentioned before, but it took me a minute to actually find it. But the first one is somebody asked him, "Do we know anyone who is currently a Dawnshard other than Risen?" And he goes,
Ooh.
"Yes, you have met people who are, well, at least one who is currently a Dawnshard other than Risen you have met."
Oh, Brandon.
Wow. Okay.
And let's see, the other one, where did that one go? Somebody asks him, if someone with the appropriate knowledge of where to place the spikes were to spike Risen and try to steal the power of the Dawnshard, what would happen? And Brandon goes, a very bad time for the person attempting it. Dawnshard self-protect. That's what he said. And that's when the person's like, well, if they self-protect, why did they need the Larkins and the Sleepless? And he goes, they do self-protect. The Larkins and the Sleepless are there. You're assuming they aren't there because of Dawnshard influence, which is a false assumption.
Yeah. So again, that makes it sound like the One Ring. It's like we lured things to us to protect us.
I guess, yeah, kind of. You're right. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, even though you mentioned the One Ring earlier. But yeah, no.
It's like a manipulative force. Like, I wonder how dangerous that could become.
Yeah, how much power does it have to manipulate? Yeah. Anyway, those were those things.
So yeah, I don't have a lot to predict. I would imagine, I would hope that the events of this novella, I kind of made my predictions earlier. The events of this novella could play a major role in the main series, but at the same time, I could see Brandon being like, well, I don't want to alienate people who didn't read that novella, so I'm just not. It's going to be like a tertiary thing in the background, but it's not going to be like a part of the main plot line. However, the last of this era of Roshar books was written after Lost Metal, which was when he said like, "Hey, I'm just gonna let everything mix together now. I'm not really caring as much about like,
Yeah.
if you haven't read this, you need to read this or whatever." So like, it's very possible that maybe not in Rhythm of War, but maybe in what's the last book called?
Wind and Truth.
Yeah, maybe in Wind and Truth, then all this stuff actually like comes back and plays a big part. So yeah, excited to keep going through these books. I think if people have been following along with my ratings of the books, they've been my highest rate of all the Sanderson books so far. Depending, highly dependent on how everything wraps up in that fifth book, they could be my favorite books of the Cosmere that we've read so far. So excited to continue that journey.
Yes, we're continuing the Stormlight. Yeah, you guys, Joe in particular has really enjoyed, rated all the Stormlight books very highly. I think everyone was putting Oathbringer in like some of their top books that we've read, but yeah, overall, I know that those the Stormlight ones have been some of the top top ratings.
The way that we've been reading them can feel like a slog at sometimes, but the characters are so fun. Such an again, we go back to those 1-star ratings. I can't imagine somebody being like, Kaladin is the only main character of these books. It's such an ensemble of great characters of like and fighting and learning about powers. It's like we're really like on the journey with almost all the characters because they don't know how these powers work, and there's so many mysteries and interesting things going on at the same time. I feel like it's going to be difficult at the end of Wind and Truth for all questions to be answered. Most likely they won't be, but
there's 5 more Stormlight books eventually.
Oh yeah. So interested to see where this journey is going to take us for sure.
Oh yeah, so much, and you're right. The way that we read it, it takes so long. It can feel a little bit sloggy, but it's like the characters are so well done, and some of the the characters that we've seen develop, like Shallan has changed so much from when we first met her. Adolin, we all kind of hated, or not even hated, just kind of like he was kind of a joke for the show in the first book, and now I feel like he's probably become one of people's favorites. I have to say,
now he is our boy.
Yeah,
Adolin, good guy. Yeah, and like we had a lot of interesting like thoughts and hopes for Renarin, and now like some of that's kind of gotten weird and turned on its head. So like,
yep.
yeah,
we're like, where are we going with that? So I'm excited to keep reading and find out.
Yep.
Even Hoyd, like up to this series, he was just kind of like just either the Joker or the storyteller who would just show up every once in a while. And in this series, actually, no, there's like we've seen the human side of him.
Yep. We see a lot more of him just overall, honestly. But yeah, you actually see emotions and like meaning coming out of the things that he's doing.
We see him being kind.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
The most we saw of him before was when he beat the crap out of Kelsier.
And, to be fair, Kelsier kind of had that coming.
Oh, no. Yeah. I feel like Kelsier is one of those guys who probably needs it every now and then just to keep him from being too full of himself. But yeah.
Yeah. What a long road we are from sexy Drifter beating up Kelsey to now.
Him and his corpse boat. Remember Spanky?
Yeah, Spanky. Good times. Let's do a few emails, and I'm gonna say, guys, we got several emails this week, and we have some older ones that I'm gonna skip over to go to the new ones because they're all on the same topic, and it's a topic that Joe asked for input on recently, and so I'm.
Are we? Go ahead. Is it sandwich time?
It is sandwich time. Yeah.
Oh my god!
You'll have to like You'll have to send me like. If they've got extra stuff in there I can't read, obviously don't send me that part, but you'll have to like send me these sandwich recipes. That way I can like have them and then maybe film it.
Nice. We have 4 sandwich related emails that I'm going to go ahead and do today.
Nice.
Because most of them are also pretty short. So, okay. The first one is from Ruari, and it's entitled Sanderlanche Witch. Hi crew, immediately had to write in. Best quote sandwich I ever made was 2 slices of thick, all in capitals, pizza with a slab of melted provolone cheese in the middle. Can be added to with chips/fries. I'm sending you images to give you an idea of how thick the pizza has to be in order to, and also the cheese, because cheese.
Use the pizza
Yeah.
as
So
bread?
it's a pizza sandwich. Okay.
It's a pizza
I'm tracking.
sandwich. Yeah.
Oh.
Is
Wow.
the yeah, you'll have to send us these pictures, but
Yeah,
like I'm trying to
gonna
think
put
of
the
like,
pictures in
is
the
this
chat.
a deep dish pizza? Is that what he means by thick, or like what are we
I don't
talking
think it's
about here?
quite. It's not like quite Chicago deep dish, but it's thicker than your average pizza.
Yeah,
Probably
than a
Where's- where's-
standard pizza. And
Yeah.
what type of pizza are we talking? Is it just cheese, or is he got toppings? Like what are we doing?
There are the pictures that Ruari sent,
Okay.
and then he signs it to the cups from Ruari. So there you go. So there's your first sandwich input. It's a pizza sandwich with cheese in the middle. More cheese in the middle than provolone, I guess, specifically.
So this looks interesting. It's got like some pesto on top, it looks like.
Yep.
I'm not sure what that picture is at the top. The provolone?
That's the provolone is the first picture. Yeah.
It's hard to get fresh provolone where I live, but give it a might be able to give that one a shot. I'll put that one up on the board. But I may not be able to make that one super quickly.
Pizza sandwich sounds tasty, I have to say. Our second one is from Snot Ninja. Dude, that does not sound like a person making a great sandwich, but we'll see.
Yeah, look, your name leaves a little bit to be desired as far as deliciousness goes.
The title is Favorite Sandwich, and they said, I call it Peanut Butter Pizza Wrap. So you put some peanut butter on a wrap, sprinkle some onion and garlic powder on top, add a little drizzle of maple syrup, cover it with 3 slices of American cheese, microwave for 35 seconds, then let cool, roll up. Best sandwich ever.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Wild ride.
That sounds disgusting, but I will.
That sounds so wild. I agree with Dak on that, but
That sounds like a sandwich that would come from the name Snot Ninja.
I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't think I've ever heard peanut butter and maple syrup in the one
Nope.
dish before in my life. That was just
Yeah,
when
and then
I
like
heard them
garlic
together, there, I'm
powder.
just like, are you what?
Yeah, it's taken me on a journey.
Wow.
the third one comes from James, and this title is entitled Unique Sandwiches. Hey guys, got a couple sandwiches for you to try. When I was a kid, I loved bologna and ketchup. And for the second sandwich, so this is the first one's just bologna and ketchup. I don't like...
Nothing else on it, huh? Just bologna and
Yeah.
ketchup. Like, cold is it hot? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like ketchup on a sandwich generally, personally, and I don't like bologna, so I don't know that I would want to touch that sandwich. But good, if
I
you
mean,
like
it seems
good on
simple
you.
enough, so I'd try it. But like, normally when you hear people talk about bologna sandwiches, like some people fry it or they cook the bologna. Like this just, if it's just cold bologna and ketchup, that doesn't sound super appealing.
I mean, you could probably try it hot if you want. You make the sandwich, cut it in half, warm up one side, don't warm up the other side, and try them both. The second sandwich, I call it a ramen sandwich. Came up with it in college. Basically, make instant ramen, Maruchan or top ramen or the like, but when cooking it, boil the noodles, then strain them, then add the seasoning to the noodles, then add the noodles in a regular deli sandwich. I prefer smoked turkey and cheddar with pickles, mayo, and mustard. Enjoy.
Mayo and
Oh.
mustard, you say?
Interesting. I could get behind that. I'm not a big mustard guy. It's a little too biffy, but I'll try it.
I never used to be, but then lately I've been eating a lot more of it. So
I like the idea of like turkey and cheese, and then you just throw some ramen on there. Like, I don't do mayo or mustard on a sandwich personally, but I'm just super picky. But I can see that being good. So thank you, James. And the last of the four we have is from, checking to see if they have a name they want me to put. The last one is from Orenbug. It says, sandwiches. Hello there, Sanderlanche crew. Orenbug here from Discord. I've been meaning to send my Spotify rating picture for half a year now and couldn't think of much to add. But after the recent and intense sandwich discussion, I knew that I wanted to join in too. So here's my odd sandwich that I ate recently. It was toasted burger buns with chili. That's chili as in cold, it looks like. Well, it's spelled that way. Anyway, it says chili chicken, a popular Indo-Chinese dish made with crispy chicken tossed in a spicy soy-based sauce.
oh, that sounds nice.
That could be good. And then melted American cheese. I don't know how odd it actually sounds, but based on the judgmental look my mom gave me, I'd guess it's odd. There's another one that I like, which isn't odd, but Data saying he likes to put chips on sandwiches reminded me of that. PB&J with chips. Okay, interesting.
Is a chip buddy really that out of?
Honestly, I feel like I like it as a textural thing. I feel like PB&J with chips, you could probably do like a chunky peanut butter and get the same sort of texture.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. Interesting thought.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I need a recipe for that chili chicken one. It sounds good, but like I don't know how to make that.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean PB&J with chips. I guess it depends on what kind of chips you're talking about. But I feel like that's something you can't really go wrong with unless you just pick a bad chip.
Yeah, you can pick something weird. Like you get would you just had the kids try the dill pickled flavored Lay's that came in a box that we got? And they love pickles. They love Lay's. They did not like the dill pickle Lay's.
Yeah, I don't know that that's something I would want to try together.
Also, Oren Bug included the picture of their 5-star Spotify review. So I would
All right, Oren, thank you so much for your review. Hold on, I gotta feed the dog. Give me a second. All right, Oren, thank you so much for your review and your sandwich recommendations. You know, for being such a sandwichy guy, you got me in a riot. You're a writer.
Nice. There you go. It continues. Your crew has genuinely ruined other podcasts for me because I try to hunt down diff podcasts for books that I'm reading, but none of them match the vibes I get from you. Thanks for making my Mondays more bearable, y'all. One last thing I want to say, Joe, please check out the Trails series, Trails, all in caps here.
Okay. Is that a book series or anime or manga or what is it?
They included a screen cap of a description of this series. Hold on. It's a long-running JRPG series which takes place in a single continent of Zemuria with different arcs, each arc being 3 to 4 games, and all with interconnected stories with recurring characters, and honestly, one of the best world building and turn-based systems. If I had to describe the combat system, it would be what if Roshar operated purely on Fabrials, even in battle.
What's it called again?
It is Trails, Trails, Trails. I think of it as the Cosmere equivalent JRPG. The studio is closing to its end game, so they started working on modern remakes for their older games. So that's really interesting.
Yeah,
I'd have to about that in the Discord, but I'd kind of forgotten about it.
I'd have to go look at and see. Okay, so the first game came out in like 2004. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to hunt these down. I don't know if they're all on PC, it'll be easy, but if they're not, then it might be harder to play some of these.
Yeah, if they're on like Steam or something, yeah.
Yeah, because 2004, I mean, that would have been PlayStation 2 era, so I don't know like what these are on.
Yeah, Trails in the Sky released on PS3 actually, and PSP and Windows, so maybe yeah.
Okay, so if it's on Windows, maybe it's still available.
It says it's on Android and iOS currently too, so you might be able to.
Interesting. Not
my favorite place.
No,
yeah.
Especially those kinds of games don't really play them on a phone.
Yeah, that didn't stop me from having played through Final Fantasy VII at least once on my phone, but I agree, it's not.
Oh, I did too. And man, was Chocobo racing annoying.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The email ends. Thanks again for the podcast and have a good day / night, y'all. So thank you guys for your sandwich recommendations. That was awesome. Thanks for your emails. We still have several in the box. Like I said, I did skip over some older ones to do those newer ones because they all kind of went together, but we will get to the other ones as well. If you send an email and haven't heard it yet, don't worry. I have them. If you'd like to send us an email like those folks did, the address is thesanderlanche@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Twitter and places like that. If you want to leave us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice, email us a screenshot of that review and Joe will assign you a misting power. If you'd like to get a fairing power, you can join our Patreon, where I am currently posting my reactions, reading through Moment Zero. Took me a second to remember. Reading through Moment Zero for the first time. It's interesting. I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet, and I'm not sure. I've got my theories, but anyway, so check that out if you want to hear that. I have actually opened up the free trial option on Patreon, so if you want to go check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/thesanderlanche, you can find under the misting option, I believe, is the free trial. So you can check it out for 7 days if you want and see if you have any interest at all in hearing me wax on about these books, reading them for the first time. So check that out if you're interested. Remember, next week we are taking a week break. After that, we're going to do our trivia review of the first 3 Stormlight books, leading into the week after that. We'll be starting on Rhythm of War with the prologue and the first 2 chapters. So that's what we're doing in the foreseeable future. Get Rhythm of War if you don't have it and you want to read along. If you haven't read Rhythm of War at all, I don't recommend continuing to listen to the podcast until you've done that. That would probably help you a lot. But thank you all for listening. Thank you, emailers, patrons, people on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, you can find the link at our website, www.thesanderlanche.com. Chat with some other folks. We appreciate all of you. No chapters for next time, because we're taking a break and then we're playing a trivia game. But come ready to play along. Music by Miracle of Sound, and Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Vasher. Crabs ahoy! To the cups.
Just